Hi, Ben here. I love noodling at the piano, and sometimes I stumble onto things that are kind of magical, but I don't hit record or write them down because I just want to stay in the moment. Then a few minutes later, I'm trying to remember, and by then I've lost my train of thought. So, I made a plugin called Note Sampler, and it allows you to quickly jot down musical ideas into keys of the keyboard. Then you can play them back and mix and match them, and the whole time you can keep your hands on the keys. Here are some musical ideas I've jotted down so far with Note Sampler. If we load this swirling preset, the swirls are down below. Because it only takes one finger to trigger a swirl, it becomes very easy to experiment with melodies on top. That fits nicely. So here's a melody I put down, and I'll accompany it by the swirls. Here's another example. Instead of having a melody on top, I put these ascending gestures. And when you mix and match them with these angular chord patterns, the scales on top with the angular patterns below, they interact in some pretty interesting ways. Here's a rhythmic preset. By filling in all of the keys of the keyboard, you can turn Note Sampler into a highly customizable note repeater effect. All these examples have been rhythmic and time-based. Note Sampler can just be a chord mapper too. Here's an example where I've used chord mapping as a way to sketch out a phrase. It's useful to have the phrase broken up across keys because it lets you experiment by playing in a different order. Next, I'll demonstrate what programming these presets looks like. Like I said before, I want to keep my hands on the keys while noodling. So I'm using a note as the record button. Whatever I played last, that's the armed key, as highlighted in red. Then to record, you press and hold the record key switch. And then as soon as I start playing, that's when the recording starts. Then you let go to stop recording, and now I can play it back. Let me try that again a little differently. There we go. So as you can see, it's replacing instead of overdubbing, and that makes it easy to iterate, do a bunch of takes, but also, thanks to the undo and redo buttons, these takes aren't immediately lost every time. I could go back and forth like so. Currently I'm on gate mode, which means the clip only plays while I hold the note, which has its perks. We could do rhythmic things like this. But if I switch to one-shot mode, clips play all the way through no matter what, and this means I could get multiple instances playing at once. And because clips respond to velocity, we could do these expressive swells with the pedal down. The only problem with this press and hold method of recording is you only have one hand free to play. So there's another way. If you first hold down a note, then press the record key, now it's locked on, and it won't let go and stop recording till I hit the key again. Now I could play two-handed chords like so. You could also get the record key to toggle on and off if you click with your mouse. And this works for all the key switches too. Okay, now I wanted to show another trick. Let's say I start recording some arpeggios onto keys. Wait a second. So do you see what's happening? I'm trying to play a C in the arpeggio, but I already recorded a clip onto that note. So this is where the through key switch is handy to bypass the clips. While holding it down, I can play whatever I want, and it doesn't trigger clips. And I can record whatever I want to. So let's say I press both the record and through key switches. Now I can record the arpeggio. Next, let's talk about these two key switches, the step back and step forward. Say I have an idea of the notes I want, but I can't quite decide on the rhythm. I could just start recording. Whoops. Maybe not. It's nice that you can undo notes. Yeah, there we go. Obviously, this clip is not useful as such. I mean, might as well scrap it, right? But I could repurpose it with the step forward and step backwards key switches, like so. Let's say I found a counter melody as I'm stepping through. Could start in thirds and then kind of diverge, maybe. Oops. I don't know. Whoa, that's actually really cool. And then arpeggio down. So now I have these two sets of notes that kind of go together. I could step through both keys at the same time. And I could do all kinds of other things, like maybe an alternating pattern. Or maybe play them with different rhythms so they line up differently. So to do all of this, I'm holding down the step key and repeatedly triggering each of the clips, but I could also hold down the clips and repeat the step key. Kinda cool, this way you're stepping through multiple clips with a single key press. It's also fun if you start a clip and then mid-playback you hit a step key. It kinda catches it and then you can step around from there. I'll show you what I mean with a scale. I've just been demonstrating with a few clips, but if you take turns stepping through a bunch of different clips, some interesting patterns can emerge. Say I take that ascending scale, and I play it on a bunch of keys. Now watch this. Kind of clever, but also kind of vanilla. But that's because I just played boring ascending scales. I mean, you could try all kinds of things. Like, what if these had been, I don't know, different arpeggios? Whoa, that's cool. As you can see with the step keys, there's a ton you can do with the existing clips, but you can also record clips using the step keys. If you hold record and then tap one of the step keys, now every note you play inserts a step and advances the cursor. This way you can quickly enter grid snap sequences. Let's enter some more. I've been entering 16ths, but we can set the step length using the note quantization options. So now I'll be entering 8th notes. You can change the length of steps temporarily using the speed key switches. Whoops, and I couldn't play the E flat because there's a clip on there, so I need to use the through key switch. For the most control, you can do a combination of tapping step keys and holding notes. So if I play a note, step forward 2/16, it's adding rests. If I hold keys while tapping though, I can extend the note. The step back key lets you go back and re-enter more steps if you like. And the undo key is handy if you want to change your mind. Finally, if you ever just want to have total control, you can always double-click a clip, and that will open up its piano roll. You can create notes by double-clicking, like in Ableton, Cubase, Pro Tools, and Bitwig, or by control-clicking, like in Logic Pro. You can tab forwards and backwards through notes, and use arrow keys or Vim style HJKL like so. Backspace erases, just like typing, and letters can enter notes at the edit cursor, with Shift making notes sharp. Control plus arrows up or down jumps by octaves, and numbers can be used to build chords above or below. It's kind of handy. If you press 1 and then 2 at the same time, it adds a note 12 semitones above. And Shift plus arrows left and right changes note lengths according to the grid, which is determined by whatever we set the note quantize to. You can also mute notes by pressing M, and you'll find that copy and paste and duplicate all work very similarly to Ableton. Okay, we've been copying and pasting around inside the piano roll, but outside you can also copy-paste clips around. There's something special about this too, which you wouldn't see in a regular clip launcher. In an audio sampler, if you map one wave file to multiple keys, it gets pitched around. Similarly, in Note Sampler, if you copy and paste from one key to another, it transposes the clip's notes around. So here's an example where that's useful. Let's say I enter a rhythm on C. If I Control C, Control V it to other keys, it transposes it up 1, 2, 3, 4 semitones, and now I can play that rhythmic idea like an instrument. It's faster to paste to the rest of the keyboard if I multi-select like so. For this kind of thing, it's a little annoying having to keep re-triggering clips to keep the rhythm going, so this would be a perfect time to turn on looping. The notes in the clips I could have played more evenly. I could turn on quantization and that would help. And we could apply quantization permanently if we select all the notes, then right-click and apply quantization. Now we can turn off the quantization there. I could also start notes at different times, maybe get some interesting rhythms going. That's kind of cool. It's pretty hectic though. I would need to start them accurately. Tricky. Unless I play right in time, the rhythm gets lopsided, so clip launch quantization would be useful here. So no matter what, I could just mash keys and it'll always lock together rhythmically. If you want to lock things together even more, you can turn on legato, and clips will stay completely in sync. If you turn on mono, then when you add and release notes, it jumps back and forth. This could be a way to do hocketing, where you stitch together snippets of different clips to create this kind of tapestry of notes. It'd be easier to demonstrate with a preset like this one. Normally it sounds like this. But if we turn on legato and mono, we could jump between the perky rhythmic clips like so. Or combine the two melodies on top into something new. Anyways, we were talking about copying and pasting between clips and the automatic transposition, and I want to come back to that because sure, it's pretty handy when you copy and paste a clip that stays on one pitch, but as soon as you paste anything with different pitches, it starts sounding out of key real quick. Let me record something to demonstrate that. You'll notice now that looping is on, recording works a bit differently, so I could actually overdub now. But like I was saying before, if you copy-paste this to other keys, it's not very useful because it goes all out of key. So to help with that, there's key snapping. If you drag blue handles in from either side, you can click on keys to set the key snapping. Let's do a C minor scale. Now it all stays in that key, and if you want to change key snapping on the fly, you can play blue keys while triggering clips. Then if you like it and you want to make it permanent, you can apply key snapping, again by right-clicking on clips. And this way you could turn the key snapping back off and maybe play un-key snapped melodies on top. Okay, you've seen a number of ways to both record and play back notes into keys of the piano, and that's great, but there has to be some way to take all this sketching and actually make it permanent in your project. Let me explain using one of the presets. One way is to drag clips in. If you want to combine them first, there's a way to mix clips. If we duplicate this bass line here, I'm holding Control to duplicate, and then as you can see from the hint, if you hold Shift while duplicating it, you can avoid the automatic transposition. Then the same thing for the spinning clip on top. I'll drag it on holding Control and Shift again, and then you can see from the hint it's Alt to mix. And there's the combined bass line and melody. Another way to bounce things is if we turn on resampling. Whatever the clips are playing, this gets looped back into recording. So if I arm this note for a recording, turn on the click, then trigger some clips. Now I have a recording of a recording. And let's keep going. How about a recording of a recording of a recording? And then you could drag the final thing into your project. While this is a pretty clever workflow, it's a bit heady too, this method of live arranging clips. So there's a dead simple way of getting anything Note Sampler has generated straight into your project. You might have noticed this monitor up here. If you drag on it, it'll pull all your history into the timeline, so if there was some happy accident you liked, you can always find it again. Interestingly enough, you can also drag from the monitor onto clips. I'm going to show you something about this, but let me clear everything out so we have a clean slate. Say I'm using key snapping. Then let's say I'm in the piano roll. Kind of like these little runs. And there are the runs in the piano roll. This could be a lick. This could be a lick. This could be another lick. And another. So let me paste each of these to different keys. Cut. Paste. Cut. Paste. Cut. Paste. And now we have these little licks spread across the keyboard. And we could copy paste from there. Actually, let me backtrack. I kind of liked these two together. So we could just grab this straight from the MIDI monitor, grab that last little bit, and then paste it back in, replacing it. Next, let's talk about the layers you can add. During development, I was realizing that because you can use notes to trigger notes, you could have multiple instances feeding into each other, and then when you trigger a clip in the first note sampler instance, that clip's notes would trigger clips in the next instance, which would then trigger notes in the next instance, and so on, however many layers of MIDI-ception you wanted to do. Not only this, but with the key switches and the key snapping all being controllable just via plain notes, there are all kinds of fancy ways you could trigger a whole cascading system. It'd be especially interesting to explore having clips in one instance which turn recording on and off in another instance automatically. Of course, now you have to do all kinds of mental gymnastics, but this idea of having clips trigger clips at least can be really interesting. So it's built into the UI, so you can add up to 3 extra layers all in one instance, and then with cascade mode on, you can have clips triggering clips. There's a basic example of how cascade mode works, but here's something a little bit more fleshed out. So yeah, the cascade mode is a pretty cool trick, but the other modes are a bit more practical. In none mode, you can use different layers to store different takes or variations that you want to quickly switch between, and you don't even have to take your hands off the keyboard because you can be using the layer up and layer down key switches. The mix mode can be a nice way to layer multiple clips together onto one key without actually having to merge them. Let's say you set loop length to recorded. This way, if we set different lengths for each layer, we could get this kind of phasing to happen. This whole time, we've been triggering just a single piano, but we could trigger multiple instruments from one note sampler instance by assigning different MIDI channels to different clips. So let's map a chord to C. By the way, it recognizes it as a chord mapping and treats it differently, so I can hold the chord however long I want. Right-click on the clip and you can set a MIDI channel. We'll do channel 2, and I have a different instrument loaded. Some brass, or MIDI channel 3, woodwinds. So if you wanted to, let's say we mapped a chord there and there. We could have this chord be channel 1, this chord be channel 2, this chord be channel 3. different instruments for different clips. So that's interesting. We could also go into the clips and assign different channels to different notes. Maybe the bottom note is piano, middle note is brass, top note is woodwinds. So that's interesting. For a better demonstration of this though, I'm going to use a preset. This preset is called Growler. It has these really wide, epic intervals that I really like. And then these notes up here, they're just putting things down an octave. And this makes it so that the notes in the right hand start to get intermingled with the wide chords in the left hand. Ooh, that crunch. Okay, I was showing multi-channel MIDI, so let me show how the multi-channel outputs could be useful with this preset. On one channel I have a bass, on another channel I have a cello, and on another channel I have a viola. And as you can hear, there are 3 different articulations. If we were to take these wide open chords, make the top be cello and the bottom be bass, they fit together in a really cool way. Then all of these right hand notes, if we made these all be viola, that would be another contrasting color. At the beginning of this video, I presented Note Sampler as a sketchpad for recording and playing back musical ideas, and it certainly is that, but as you can see, it can be much more. It's one thing to see me using the key switches to record and then having oodles of notes shooting out of Note Sampler, but it's a whole other experience if you try it for yourself. So there's a trial you can download which is fully functional and has all the presets, and I'd encourage you to check that out.